Hello everyone and welcome to another video. First of all, I'd like to apologise for the lack of videos recently. This is because of starting a new course at college. I've been generally busy with work and this is actually the only chance I've been given recently to make a video. Today we're going to look at my most recent acquisition. It isn't here permanently as I part own it with a friend as we put money together to buy it. Because we had to at the time to get it because we only had enough money if we bought it between us. So I only part own this, so I don't get it all every day. We kind of like lend it to each house to put on our displays and stuff. So I thought I'd show you why I've got it today. So what I'm going to show you is a 100% fully original German World War II era workbook. This was basically the German civilians' employment book where they would put down every job they worked in and when till. This one is filled in up to about 1952, I think. I haven't done any research on what happened in 1952. Maybe they didn't let him use them after then, but other than that, yeah. Well, first of all, the first I knew about his books is when I joined my reenactment group, because my reenactment group is Axis Allied. Please follow us on Facebook. We have a page on Facebook, and there's also an Instagram account, Axis Allied. And my membership card has the workbook on the back of it. So I saw that and I was like, hang on a minute. Same thing. Obviously because we're Axis Allied, we have Axis, then Allied. It's pretty smart, to be honest. Now the thing I like about this is how it's filled in, and it has some personal history of the person who had it. So I've tried to translate as many words as possible, but Old German's a bit hard to translate. So I'm going to try and read it. So, Arbeitsbuch, what was it? Arbeitsbuch stands for workbook. I'm sorry if I pronounce German horribly wrong. I'm not very good at pronouncing German at all. But yeah, let's have a look inside at the first page. If I can open it. Sorry, 1 minute. As you can see, the front cover is in okay condition. It's lasted throughout the years. The words haven't actually faded off this example, what's very nice to know, and I'm very proud of it myself. I think it's a very nice piece of history. So let's get into it. I'll just try and zoom you in a bit more on it. Okay, so what we're greeted with first is Bezirk Samt, I can't pronounce it, and that stands for District Employment Office. So you've got District Employment Office, then Weifensee. I haven't been able to translate that bit yet. I haven't found what that means in English. Then we have District Employment Office Workbook. Introduced, I think that is 26th of February 1935. This one is number 40 out of God knows how many, just a ton of numbers. But it's number 40, so it's quite an early one, and it is falling to bits. It does come out of its cover, but it does go back in. You just put the staple back in, and it holds it secure. As you can see in the background, you have the Reich Eagle and swastika, and there's also little swastikas on all the edges. This one was owned by someone called Charlotte Velke, and her name is clearly written when the name's meant to go there, and again down here. Alright, next. So the first page is basically just filling in your details. Hang on a minute, sorry. I've tried to pronounce some of these. Geburtstag is when you're born, your birthday. I think that's January. 6th of January. I think that's January. I'm not too sure. It's really hard handwriting to read. So I'm just going to say it's January. 6th of January 1922. Geburtstag. I thought I'll put that down. I think that means like where you live. Yeah, place of residence or something. Oh, I forgot that one. I've been writing some of them down. I've obviously forgot that one, but yeah, I do apologise, but that's like your marital status, I think. No, that's that one there. That one is your marital status, family and F stand. Sorry, I know my German's horrible. But yeah, that's that's your marital status, and I don't know what that means. Here it has Deutsches Reich, so I'm guessing that's like where this book is for or something. I told you, I've only just got it, guys. It's been a week. I've been trying to translate as much as possible, but some websites just don't do old German, unfortunately. Yeah, that's basically just a page you fill into them with your details. So, born, I think that's like place of residence or city. Oh no, sorry, that's place of birth. Yeah, so place of birth. I think that says Berlin, because I can't read it properly, but I think that's meant to say Berlin. So place of birth, Berlin. Then I think that's like street, but I think that's like where, Deutsches Reich, so Germany. Family, are you married or whatsoever? I think that's like no, it's not 9, so that's her marital status. That one there is where she lives. Which one is it again? So Webnot und Wohnung is where she lives, and that's her address. An amazing piece of history to have. The street she lives in Berlin, and her door number, I think. That's her address. That's where this person, that's where Charlotte Welker lived during the war years. And the rest of the detailed pages are literally just more residence pages, just in case she moves house. I do apologise, I'll zoom you out so you can see the whole thing. Yeah, these are just like where she's lived. This one here. Now I'm going to translate that. But these are just the same details, I think. These are just all your personal details. Like, that's workbook, that top one there. So I think these like, who are these entitled to? That one there, I have done that, is professional training. Have you had any former professional training? And she has wrote something down for that. But unfortunately, the handwriting is really hard to read, and so I can't figure it out for you. If anyone's watching this who is German, what I highly doubt, and if you can translate these for me, I would love to hear them. Because something like this, I love pieces like this. The history of World War II isn't just about the fighting, it's about the Labour front and everything. And something like this really sets me off, like, I just want it. Because I think, hang on mate, this belonged to someone who had a story. Every artifact has a story, everyone. But yeah, and these are just different results and stuff, and here's my favourite pages. These are her previous jobs before she had this. So she's worked for this place here, again I can't pronounce it, and she's worked there from 1936, start, end 1938. So start 1936, end 1938. Then she had another job where she started in 1938, and she hasn't put she's finished her job or quit it, so I'm guessing she's still in it when she got this. Then this is the important page. You have workbook, again signed by someone. You have the stamp for the Berlin workbook. It means you got it from Berlin. The Waffenamt stamp. It's not World War II. It's not a Waffenamt stamp, so I'm thinking of weapons here. Just the general German Reich stamp. And then you have the person who signed it. And then the top bit here, if I can. This might not really clearly. Has like a paragraph there saying what it's for and like a fulfillment, I think. Kind of like rule/fulfillment of the booklet. What says 15th of February 1938. And then you have signatures from people who've marked it. And then that says professional. That's been marked with something. These are some I've translated. Beresot, I couldn't find a translation for that, but Beres Gruppe is professional apparently. So it's obviously some kind of form of procession. Then you have the workbook office in Berlin where they got this signed. And you have the signatures from the people who signed it. And this one was done in what looks like to me June or July, I think, 1938. This one was signed in 1938. When you have another German stamp, well, technically you have two. Deinheges was like seal of approval, like seal or something when I translated it. But yeah, that's basically just the official page you get where the people who hand it to you sign it to say they've given it to you. And then this is the bit what really interests me. This is where she worked. These are all the stamps from the company she worked for and what she did during the war. For example, she worked for Arthur Dreckel, Berlin, number 55. Gewürztraminer 220. That's like place of work. Then she puts what her job was. Can't read that. 7th of the 7th, 1938. So she worked there till then. Then she started working for L.S. Krauss. No, she started in 1938. Wilp and Lebensmittel. Right, that's milk and food. So she worked at L.S. Krauss for food and milk. So she was basically in the catering industry, making food and milk. And she worked from there from 1941 to 1945. That'll be Krauss. Now the bit what does interest me here is the next one is Charlotte Welke, Mitchell and Lebensmittel. So did she start her own company after the war? And she did. She worked there until 18th of the 4th, 1952. Also in the food and milk industry. Then it says, Alice Krauss Mutter, Richard Welke. And all these other ones also have other dates. For example, 1947, I think. It's a bit complicated, but these are basically all the places she worked at during her time of owning this workbook. And it's just really interesting to see this history. So she worked during the war for a company who made food. They could have made rations for frontline soldiers. We will never know. I will research the company. I've tried, but I haven't found anything yet. But yeah, that's the workbook page. Like all these different companies, the history. It's just amazing. And then that's where it ends. I don't know what that means. Gonna try and translate it. But like I said, the handwriting's really hard to read. I think that means like the end or something. Because she must have got a new book in 1952. Because that's when the last entry is. 31st of the 3rd, 1952. And then these are all just the empty pages of it. And as you can see, each page has swastikas in each corner of it. And the Reich got on workbook and Deutsches Reich. Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. An amazing piece of history, this. And it survived, and I'm really happy. I got it cheap as well. There's a clear page, Deutsches Reich workbook, page number 32. And the last bit is this. Anmerkungen. That's workbook. Oh yeah, I remember this now. This one, this right here, this piece was for. This is basically the rules for who it was given to. Written December 1937, and it basically just tells you what and not to do with this book. It was for like for bookseller, entrepreneur, something like that. I remember. I did translate it. And it basically just tells you what and what not to do in this book. And look at all that text. I just can't read German at the moment. I can speak it okay. The words I do know, I can speak it a bit. But I can't read it. What an amazing piece of history. And it basically just carries on with these rules until you get to the back. Ends at page number 38. When you have the back cover, what's in not the best condition, it says workbook again there, and it did have a name there. I think it was just Charlotte Welke again, but unfortunately over time it has faded. So there you have it. an amazing piece of history and an insight to civilian life in Germany during the war. It's nice to know this person survived the war and carried on with their industry, and yeah, tells you a bit more about the labour front as well. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video and exploring this wonderful piece of history with me. I've got some more stuff arriving for my Fallschirmjäger impressions, so I'll be doing some videos on them. And I have a World War II event this weekend at Levisham on the North Yorkshire Moors Railway. If any of you are around or live in England and live in Yorkshire, please attend it. It's such an amazing event. Each station has exhibits. We're at Levisham, what has been turned into Levisham, it's basically turning into a village in France, and we're going to have displays such as a radar dish, anti-air guns, a crashed Messerschmitt, and a few other things. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys later.